Hello, everyone. This is Simon from Simon Says Let's Wrestle, and we have another edition of the podcast with my brother Sam. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. Got to be honest with you. I'm watching Arkansas get beat pretty bad by Florida right now. 'Cause for those who don't know or maybe don't remember, we're both from Arkansas. So unfortunately, I'll throw that in there.
So, one of the first things I want to hit on is Vince McMahon, a couple weeks ago came out and said that I want to change things up. The McMahon family came out and said that we basically suck, our ratings are down, and we want to put you in control. And so it's been the first SmackDown and Raw of the new year. What's your opinion so far? Have they improved at all?
I definitely think they have on SmackDown. Uh, Raw seems to be kind of the same. Uh, to be honest with you, I've kept up a little bit more with SmackDown as we
Okay.
kind of were talking before we even got on the call. With as busy as I am, I don't get to watch Raw quite as often.
Okay.
But like I'm excited to kind of talk about last night's SmackDown because I did see several things that I enjoyed, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how those stories turn out.
Okay. I'll say this: I watch Raw, and I can definitely tell that there is some more changes. Kind of hit on a point. Is I was listening to a podcast. I do believe it's Stone Cold, and he said something to the effect of that you don't really see the arena in today's product. You basically see the ring in maybe one backstage segment or something. But it seems last night's Raw and or Monday's Raw and last night's SmackDown, it seems like you actually got to see more of the arena in a whole bunch of different ways. So that was really cool in that aspect. I don't know if you thought that or not.
Well, yeah, are you talking like maybe like on the SmackDown
Yeah,
where Daniel Bryan started?
yeah, like you got to actually see that.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit of a throwback because it used to be, World Wrestling Entertainment. I feel like almost, and this is a little bit of a heavy response to that. I feel like they tried to make it so much about wrestling that they kind of forgot that there needs to be some entertainment aspects. And I do believe they are trying to get back to entertaining a little bit more.
Right, right. It almost feels more old school because like I know we're talking about SmackDown tonight, but Raw there was a lumberjack match and there was a falls count anywhere around the arena. I mean, I don't want to say that's Attitude Era like, but it seems like more old school than just the boring routine we've been getting last year. Um, but can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. I can edit stuff out, so don't worry. Okay, so first off, the first segment was with Daniel Bryan in the concession stands. What was your thoughts about that?
I enjoyed it. I will say this, and eventually he'll probably be on the show. You know, my friend Jeff, he's your friend too.
Yeah.
One thing, he actually texted me today and said he hated the new Daniel Bryan character, but I kind of enjoyed watching him. Uh, you know, I, I like him okay as a heel. I actually prefer Daniel Bryan as a face, but as a heel, he kind of comes off as like a little just bratty kid that thinks he's better than everybody else, which I know that's what they're trying to push. So he does pull that off pretty decent.
Hmm.
Um, I just I liked when he threw the drink on somebody, and he I liked the segment overall. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Might be rambling a little bit about it, but it's because I did like it, but I do prefer him as a face. I'll just throw that up.
I really like the new Daniel Bryan, so I'm on the other side of it.
Oh,
I like his vegan character because honestly, I feel like that how he thinks in real life. He's probably such a nice guy in real life. He doesn't get to say that as Bryan Danielson, but as Daniel Bryan, he actually gets to talk about the environment, drinking cokes, popcorn. So he actually gets to act out how he really feels about people. But he gets it, and you can just tell he's really passionate about being a vegan, eating right. He just gets to do it in his own fun way.
well, yeah, you hit on something there. I can't remember if it was Total Divas, I guess, because I don't think I've ever seen Total Bellas. It was one of those shows, or maybe I have, but it was the one where uh, I think the Bellas and Cena and Bryan were living together. But the way he does come off, anytime they would show him, he does seem like a smug, thinks he's better than everybody person. So you're probably right. He probably enjoys it in character. He can be real because the best character is the one you really feel like you are.
Right. And so I mean, Daniel Bryan's probably one of the greatest faces, definitely of this generation, maybe of all time, just what he's gone through. But I'm just really enjoying his heel work because because that's really who he is as a person. So he it doesn't seem scripted from the heart. So I'm really enjoying it. Well, what did you think about R-Truth getting the nod to attack Daniel Bryan? Are you surprised he was the one to attack him, or?
I'm not surprised he's the one that attacked him because one thing, that's why I said I could tell last night in several ways they're trying to give the fans what they want. I've always loved R-Truth. I guess you have. Is that true or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. I think he's been always entertaining.
And you could say that this is a little bit what's the word? Maybe I think a little too highly of myself, but I do believe I'm kind of on that level of I'm a more hardcore than the average fan, but I'm not quite like a smart whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
So I feel like if I'm thinking that everybody else does, and since I like him, I know everybody else probably does. So they gave him a chance because he was real aggressive to begin with, and he looked good. So they were able to build him and give everybody entertainment. And he's the perfect one to give Bryant, try to shut him up, and without getting AJ involved as of right now, but still be able to take a loss. And it really didn't move his needle up or down, but it was entertaining, and it was a way to shut Bryant up. You know.
Right. I think it. I feel like R-Truth has been a background player a while, and people like him enough that if you gave him this opportunity, people are going to really enjoy it. I mean, we're both smarks. I mean, we don't see him ever beating Bryan, but we enjoy the fact that he got the opportunity to get out there, actually be involved with, actually get to do something on a SmackDown, which I think was really nice and a change for him. Because I bet he was just excited to have TV time with the top guy. So,
Yeah, and I don't know how old he is. I could probably Google it real quick, but he's been around a long time. So I would say he's probably in his last 5 years, if not even less. So people that have worked a long time, it seems like towards their end, like Mark Henry, even, I mean, just to throw a name out there, when they're getting kind of close to where they're going to be done, it does seem like WWE uses them a little bit more to kind of give them some nice times before they're done.
right.
Um,
So after all that went down, of course, Bryan won the match. Then AJ came out being super aggressive. What you think about AJ being real aggressive?
I like that too. They need to find a new face though. I believe we talked about it last week. How some of the stories and characters it's like the same story. They just interchange characters. Now Bryan is definitely not say like a Samoa Joe, but it's still doing things to AJ that makes him want to lose it and do things he wouldn't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now I do like the idea of those two. So uh, AJ it can be real aggressive. I don't think he's winning the belt back. A different chat, different time. We can talk about what he's going to do, but I think this is just his way to try to be a really aggressive person that Bryan still ends up beating and then holding on to the title.
Got you. Okay. For a quick sidebar, you said that you're tired of seeing him as a face. Real quick, who should take over AJ's spot as the main face on SmackDown, or you would have to think about that for a little bit?
No, right off the bat, I'm still waiting on the Miz, which people love him. So face and heel, they are what they are. You can call
Mm-hmm.
somebody heel, and they get more cheers in the face. But I would like to see the Miz maybe finally just be a true face, and I'd like to see him eventually get a title. But you said quick sidebar, so we won't go too in depth.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Miz
Or,
at the top.
or even Mustafa Ali eventually, or
Okay.
maybe turn Andrade. You know,
Okay. So the one of those three, yeah, because I think, like I said, AJ is going to be going to Raw
yeah.
after Mania. Okay, so the next match is Rey Mysterio, Mustafa Ali, Samoa Joe, and Andre St. Almas. What'd you think?
That was the best match of the night, the best one I've seen in a while. And I'm not sure. I mean, there was obviously a lot of cool moves and such, but there was one that we were talking about. I don't know what it's called, but I know it was Andrade and Rey Mysterio, and Andrade looked like he was about to try to do maybe I'm not sure what he was doing. He was on his head and Mysterio was on his back, and somehow that turned into a flip over him and a pile driver in the air. I mean, it was a very good, fast-paced match. And Samoa Joe, though he might look out of place, is very good at keeping up, even with those smaller, quicker guys. It was my favorite match of the night, and one of my favorite ones I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think it's awesome that just, the lucha libre style is just becoming so prevalent in WWE. It's just crazy just how far the WWE's came. You got Mysterio, Ali, Andre, just their style coming through. I think so. I think that's awesome. Just the different styles that's becoming a
Does
main
it
card.
does it remind you any of the cruiserweights in WCW? How they had to kind of break out, but they were actually the matches most people wanted to see back in the day because you could see some athleticism. I kind of see the same type of trend between getting the cruiserweights going back then, and now it seems WWE has actually taken a stance. Okay, well, people do actually want to see that. That was another way, like I was saying, I believe they are trying to give us what we want, because that was just a match. Whether you've been watching WWE for years or it was your first time, it was enjoyable to see that athleticism and quick pace and aggressiveness, to be honest, in a match.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, if I looked at the card tonight, I mean, this would be the match that I would probably be most excited about because just the pure talent alone on the call in the match.
Had
Uh,
we not already seen SmackDown, if we knew those were going to be the matches ahead of time, that would have been the one I'd have been like, "Oh, I want to watch that."
Right, and so I guess another quick sidebar. I mean, I've heard in the past that Mustafa Ali and was a big fan of Rey Mysterio. Isn't that cool? He got to tag team with Rey Mysterio. I mean, just imagine like your hero getting a tag team with him. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I can't I can't speak to this because, as I said last week, I'd had about a month or maybe a little bit more where I really wasn't able to watch a whole lot. So Mustafa came in during one of those weeks, and I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a one-off and he just took off. Maybe you can tell me real quick.
Hmm.
Did you keep up enough to know kind of why he's even relevant, where he came from out of nowhere in the last 6 to 8 weeks?
So so he came from, I don't know if you know this, but he came from 205 Live,
Yeah, I
and
knew he was there,
and
but
he, and he was, I guess he was, from what I understood is that just one night on Twitter, or basically WWE announced that Mustafa Ali was going to face Daniel Bryan or something along those lines, and just the internet just erupted because so they got super excited about it, and I assume that it was a great match. That people got excited, so WWE probably is like, "Oh, this is something," and they just been running with it because every night he impresses. I mean, there's not. I mean, I can't believe he's been a cruiserweight. He should have been on the main card a long time ago, the way he's been producing with the top talent. So I think that's what happened. Basically, he got announced, and then everyone just got real excited, and he would,
just
taking
an
that
organic.
right.
The fans pushed him, and yeah, and that's the best wrestlers and uh, the best. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, he's obviously not on Stone Cold level, but when the fans get behind you, kind of like Becky Lynch, even the fans get behind you, when you can organically become that character, that's the best thing for business.
Right, right. So, almost pin Mysterio. Did that surprise you at all?
Uh, no, because again, Mysterio's been around so long. Whether he wins or loses, he could go on a ten match losing streak. It's not going to affect him. I think, honestly, before Mustafa showed up, I think Andrade was going to be maybe in that position, and he still is to a degree. Because if you remember, he had an excellent match with AJ Styles a while back.
Yeah, right. I
Uh,
remember that.
so I actually think those two might both be on their way to headlining some major pay-per-views, or do we even still call them that?
I know what you're saying. No, I agree. I'm actually happy he got the win because, like we kind of talked about last week, he got put in that spots with Cena and Becky Lynch. So this week he was in their high profile spot. So I think Ali's doing his own thing, kind of like agreeing with you. He's doing his own thing, but in a different way, if that makes sense. Ali is becoming this great babyface, but Andre's building his own momentum, getting a ring with Cena, with Lynch, and then, beating Mysterio next week. So I think he's building some momentum very quietly.
I think I don't necessarily know that either of them, especially anytime soon, would ever win the WWE title. But I do think they can be in the picture. I do think Andrade's going to get the first opportunity at it, if you know what I mean.
Right. Oh yeah.
But Mustafa's, not far behind, and I do think with how he's come on, he could challenge, for maybe a U.S. title or something sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Okay. So next we got a promo of Rusev calling out Shinsuke, for basically hurting his wife. What'd you think about that? I mean, Shinsuke said that it was your fault. I honestly thought that was kind of a dumb because
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
let me just say this. Anybody who didn't know that Shinsuke wasn't actually in the truck, I don't know what to tell you. You must have never watched wrestling before. I mean, you knew immediately when you saw Shinsuke in the truck, Rusev was going to go after him, and
Right.
lo and behold, he's going to get attacked. So I mean, I do enjoy Rusev, and actually, I kind of like Shinsuke when he actually tries to say more than 2 words at a time.
Right.
But
It's like
I mean,
endearing because you can know he's really trying to try and speak English and stuff.
and I do like Rusev. I mean, I'd rather him be a monster heel, which I think eventually he'll go back to. But either way, he's going to have to get a push soon, or
Right.
you've wasted his career up to this point. I feel like.
I think that, I mean, last week was I did not enjoy it. This week I feel like it still seemed somewhat scripted, but I feel like they pushing the needle in the right way. They're letting him be more aggressive, more a brute in a lack of words. So
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, he's going to become more of a brute. So maybe they're trying to get away from Rusev Day and start pushing back into that monster heel role. I mean,
Well, that's why I did like how he said, "I'm not here as a United States champion. I'm here as a husband." I mean, it's a storyline that's been played out before. Maybe not quite husband, but I'm here
right,
as a man. But I do think they're trying to take a little bit of the enjoyment, or maybe not enjoyment, but the funny ha ha Rusev Day side out, as you're saying,
right.
and getting back to that aggressive beast that we know he can be.
And one last thing, I'm actually happy the United States Championship is actually getting a story. It potentially will be on the pay-per-view at the Royal Rumble. I mean,
Yeah,
it needs to be, it needs to be back in relevance a little bit.
yeah. I do believe every title should hold its place. I mean, a title's not worth anything except what we're with the time we give it. Basically, I wish
Right.
they'd bring back the TV title, but let's get into all that.
Right, right. Okay, so the next match we got the Uso versus Bar. First off, am I the only one who thinks the Bar is really boring, or am I wrong?
I honestly thought the Usos were going to beat them and then
Uh,
get to beat for the titles,
uh-huh.
but not once we talk about what actually did happen. The Bar is boring.
Okay,
I
so I'm not the
really,
only one.
yeah, I really do like Usos. Like I like them better than what's actually going to happen. But you can bring that up at whatever point you're ready.
I'll say this. Now this would be a whole different podcast, but I would love to see the Usos in an NXT style tag team match, kind of like with the Revival and DY.
Oh yeah,
You just let them let loose because they're just so good. I would love to see them in a actually get to wrestle for 30 minutes in a true tag team style and see what they could do. I
well
mean,
they make Big E look like a good wrestler at times.
right. Okay, so yeah, so we can get to it. The Bar did the Bar thing, they wrestled, and the Bar beat them. Are you surprised by that? You said you were kind of surprised by that.
Well, I didn't know what it was leading up to. I really thought they were going to try because I feel like if I'm thinking it and you're obviously thinking it, everybody or most people probably do. I think people are bored with the Bar, so I thought this was just a nice way to give the fans what they want. Again, going on that same vein, I keep talking. I thought maybe they'd let them beat them. Now, I don't know if that means the Usos would have then won the titles in the next match,
Hmm.
but getting to see them beat the Bar, I think people would have liked to see because they still get pop,
Yeah.
the Usos, and I think they're going to eventually turn face too. By the way, which
The,
right now they're still kind of heelish, but there was something that happened, and somehow they said something, and then they got a real big pop, maybe on that, before the match. They said, "What's up, Oos?" and did their little promo.
hmm
And just the pop they were getting, I feel like they could be turning back to face, but maybe keeping the persona, what they are now, as opposed to the painted face that slapped themselves.
I think they're cool. I mean, I might sound like a geek saying that, but I think they're just cool. Like I like their entrance. I like the
Yeah,
tag
like
team.
that, except kind of like a Stone Cold deal. They're a
Yeah,
bad
you know.
AEW team, but you can cheer for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Without getting too worried with Shane McMahon and The Miz, I feel like The Miz teaming with Shane McMahon is just not the way Miz needs to be going. This is for another podcast because we'll spend another hour because I really like The Miz. I feel like that he's in a dumb spot. But, I mean, what do you think about Shane and Miz tagging together to face the bar at the Rumble?
Um, well, what I think about it is they're going to do what I thought the Usos were going to get to do possibly, and I do think they'll actually win the titles at the Rumble because people are tired of the bar. But I think by WrestleMania they will have lost the titles and they're fighting each other. But I think that's what springboards the Miz is after he beats Shane at WrestleMania, then he can maybe start his run we were talking about earlier. That's
Okay.
what I think happens anyway.
Okay. And then we have the main event of the night. It's Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Carmella. I mean, did you see it going any other way than how it went?
Honestly, I thought it really, and I'll say why I thought this way. I'm not sure how many, of course, Royal Rumble, if all they showed was the actual Royal Rumble event, people would still want to watch. But I honestly, and you can call me stupid, or some people probably, I thought maybe Carmella might win it simply so that they could then have three big matches. Asuka, Carmella, let Becky and Charlotte have one, and then Ronda is fighting. She's fighting. What's a who she? Nia Jax, right?
Right.
So I thought maybe just for this one, because it's still everything at this point is going down to what's going to actually happen at WrestleMania. So I
Right.
wasn't sure if they would try to save Becky for WrestleMania or if she's still going to end up going and fighting. Because I wasn't sure what would happen, I really just thought maybe this would be a nice little get Carmella another win to start her back on a path to be a
Mm-hmm.
secondary star again, and then have three good women's matches because she could have fought Asuka and then they could have built that up. She's beat Asuka twice. Not that she's a great wrestler, but I
Mm-hmm.
do like her. I mean, she's top. She's you know middle of the bar for me as far as how much I like him as far as
Who?
the teams of the wrestlers.
Who? Asuka?
No,
Carmella?
Carmella.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But her
Uh,
versus Asuka would be a good match to start Asuka's, pay per view defense against. Um,
right.
because I mean, how are they going to play this Becky thing out? I mean, I don't think they're going to make Asuka lose, but if Becky doesn't win, it doesn't matter how she doesn't win; it's going to look bad.
Right. I'll say this. I feel like that how WWE has conditioned us, because you're right. I mean, I thought, because they're going to say they want to get Becky Lynch and Flair back at the Rumble, or they, want to save something, so they just put Carmella. But
Yeah,
they're doing what we want. We want to see Becky, so they're giving us Becky. So I think we're just so programmed, like you're so programmed to think one way, you think Carmella should get it, but really we want to see Becky.
yeah, we
So,
want to see Becky, but do we
uh,
want to see her win? I don't know. I'm not ready for Asuka to lose it because then you're dealing with her legacy. She wins the belt and then loses it immediately. I mean, somebody's losing that match, and I don't know. There's best for business where you can still give people what they want. You just do a better build. Now, I guess Royal Rumble. Um, quick question: is Royal Rumble or SummerSlam the second biggest one? What do
in
you think?
my mind, it's the Rumble because of the Rumble match. I mean, technically it's SummerSlam, but to me, I mean, everyone gets more excited about the Rumble because
Well,
it's on the way to it's on the way to
right.
WrestleMania
I, and
because
I pretty much agree with you simply because of the Royal Rumble. But what I was getting at is,
uh
uh, I think this is WrestleMania worthy matches that we're now giving it the second or third, depending on what you think, biggest show, where you could have
got you.
saved them and got another couple months. And
Mm.
I still would enjoy seeing that. The only thing I can figure is if Becky doesn't win, uh, then they're just going to set her up somehow to maybe finally get the match with Ronda at WrestleMania.
Do you think there's gonna be some kind of screwy finish? Like I think like Flair's gonna come in, maybe Carmella. I mean, because they're not gonna Asuka's going to retain no matter what. There's no way. I mean, it might hurt Becky a little bit, but Becky's so hot right now that there could be another interference, and she just could get more mad and just, you know what I'm saying. So I think some kind of interference at the Rumble.
Well, we're not the writers, so it's hard to say. But again, uh, somehow they're going to have to pivot to get her back to Ronda. But by taking a loss in any way, I think, I mean, if Ronda's fighting Becky, who's lost to Asuka, and then she lost the belt in a three-way, I mean, she doesn't need to lose in any way until she meets Ronda.
Okay. Okay.
That's kind of what I think.
Yeah. I
And if,
mean,
but if but if they do let her win the belt, that'd be cool. But then Asuka's, I'd say right now, Asuka is not nearly as hot as when she came in. But as far as women, it's Ronda, Becky, 1A, 1B. Charlotte's still always going to be right there, probably at 2. Asuka's still only about number 3, but she is probably your number 3 product right now because
no,
Alexa's not.
right. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be. I mean, I agree with you. I just think. I mean, my own 2 cents is I think the smart booking decision was to have Carmella go probably beat Flair. But people are so hot on Becky right now. They're like, we'll just let her go. And they're probably just going to figure out the day before and figure out what's happened. They'll probably have someone interfere or something.
So you're
Okay.
thinking they're just kind of trying to live in the moment to get the most bang for their buck.
That's what I think because I
Well, I
mean,
would understand that if people are
uh,
still paying $50 to $60 to order a pay-per-view. But no matter who they put in the match, the people that have the network are going to watch.
but do you think because of the whole rating situation, kind of back to the very beginning with Vince and stuff, do you think he's like, well, this is what they want, so let's give it to them? I mean, do you
Oh,
think
so you're thinking they might even be doing it? You know what? Screw it. We're just going to do what the
with the
fans
fans,
want and see how it
right?
goes a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that then. I mean, if that's what you've been saying this whole time, sorry, maybe I haven't quite
No,
got
you're
it.
fine. I mean,
If that's what you're saying, then I guess I could see why they would do it. It just doesn't make business sense.
It, but at this point, I mean, they're going one way, and I'm not saying Becky's going to be Asuka. I just think that for right now, you get 3 weeks to build between Asuka and Becky, and then Rousey might come out again, or
Well, the thing that'll probably happen is somehow Becky loses, but then she's winning the Rumble, right?
yeah, she's going to win the Rumble,
And then she'll challenge Ronda.
right?
So
What about the wild card? Asuka turns heel and just goes crazy on her. I mean, that could, because there's not really a heel woman.
yeah, I mean that could happen. She
Um, I,
kind of started doing that in NXT, and as everyone knows that has ever watched NXT, they run programs in NXT to see how well they work, and then a year to two later they end up happening on the main roster. So.
I think it would be this was a fun sidebar, but what if she turns heel on Becky and you get that match? You go through to Mania before you set up Lynch and Rousey, so have a super aggressive heel Asuka against the man. I mean, that'd be really fun. I think.
Well, it would have to be a one-off because, like, you still have Charlotte. You got to think about.
Right, right,
Charlotte
right.
can't fit there. No, actually, let me correct myself. I believe it's going to be Ronda versus Sasha Banks at a Royal Rumble. I just thought about that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to, and that's another deal. That was one thing I was going to remind, even though that was on Raw.
Uh,
Fans have been wanting to see that match, so they are getting another match they want to see with Sasha and Ronda. So.
yeah, I'm really excited about that match. I'm actually surprised that Sasha Banks is in that spot because yeah, I'm happy she's getting the opportunity. So with the SmackDown, I mean, we sound like we enjoyed it, but I mean, what do you think about the whole thing with the new changes, and does it seem like they're trying to do better this time around?
I really do believe they are. I liked it. I mean, nothing to me was unwatchable, there's been a lot of that lately or before the past few weeks. Um, the only pure 10 I would give anything would probably be that the match with Andrade and Samoa Joe, Mustafa, and Ray. Now that triple threat, I did like it. But I mean, we've seen it before.
Mm,
If I've ever seen a match before, short of again being maybe Shawn Michaels Undertaker, I mean, it's only really special the first time, so I'd still give that a solid 8 or 9. But
Mm-hmm.
everything was an above average show. I'll say that.
Right. I think they're on the right path. I think that, I mean, hopefully it lasts longer than a couple weeks, but I feel like I could tell that they're really trying. They are doing stuff different than they were last year. So I think that it's on the right path. So we actually still probably we got a couple more minutes. So I want to get your opinion on the All Elite Wrestling situation. Just kind of what you think about the whole thing.
I think it's cool. I just don't know how. Um, well, obviously, um, sometimes I have to think about what I'm going to say because for any of you out there listening, we don't really go over a bunch of notes before we start this, so I don't really ever know what I'm going to be asked. Uh, I think it's very cool, kind of like they've got their own club. We're wrestlers, and I don't care what any of them say. They're doing it because they're not at WWE. I mean, I don't. There's no other wrestling promotion that's where they're at. I've listened to
Mhm.
major podcasts. People are catching up. No, they're not. You're either WWE or you're not, and
Okay.
that's where. So if you're not going to be WWE, the next best thing is to be with all your buddies and try to somehow compete. They would say, "Well, we're not trying to compete," but yeah, you are. You wrestle. You're either WWE or you're not. So I'll
Okay.
say now, with the people they've signed, we talked about it. Jericho is my favorite. They signed him. They signed Neville, which is going by
Puck.
Pack, however you say it. I like him, but Cody's Cody. You got the Young Bucks, but not, other than Jericho being there, that's the only thing that's got my intrigue. So that's smart on them to maybe get a name like that. But is it not just going to be the same thing that every other promotion's done that they've wrestled in already? I feel like unless you're one of the wrestlers joining it, it's not a huge deal. Some people will disagree with that.
Well, so my take on it is that you do make sense, but first off, they got the Khan family behind them, so who own the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so I mean I'm not sure you watched the press conference, but I'll give you the cliff notes. Basically, Cody came out saying that they're going to be paid as much as other athletes. So to me, that's saying that they're going to compete with WWE money. There's speculation that there's health care. There's, it's the Young Bucks, so there's going to be probably a lot of creative freedom. I mean, do you not agree that,
I'm
maybe?
gonna I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay,
So the Jacksonville Jaguars guy wants to get into wrestling. What
right.
happened the first time the wrestling master Vince tried to get into NFL?
It didn't
Just
work
because you
out.
have money doesn't mean it's going to work out. That's all I'm saying.
It would be kind of like us having $100 million trying to probably start a promotion. We'd probably be like, we got the money, but
When I said Cody was Cody a minute ago, what I meant is he's not a main eventer.
uh,
That might make some people angry. In WWE, if you've got it, they'll let you flaunt it. I
right.
mean, seriously.
No, I agree because I mean, if it
So
was all about
outside of a 47 or 48-year-old Jericho
Mhm.
being the biggest name you've signed, what have they really got? Now, Kenny, that's another thing. You did a podcast on your thoughts, I guess, on that.
uh,
But Kenny Omega, uh, if he signs, I do think that would boost it. But again, it's going to be the same people that were watching him in New Japan. So what are they really making up on WWE fans? Nothing.
I haven't got your opinion about that. What do you think about Kenny Omega? I mean, yeah, what's your honest
As a
opinion?
performer or in this
Just
situation,
everything. Like, what do you think about him? I mean, are you?
he
Uh huh.
he's good, but that's because he does things that other people. Because I don't really watch any of the independents, I'll admit. Um, so I've only I think seen one full match of his, and it was the one at the Wrestle Kingdom they just had, and that's because somehow I was traveling for work, and this has just been last week on some channel I've never even heard of. They were already showing Wrestle Kingdom replay, so I got to see him fight. I,
Tanahashi.
yeah, and I mean he's good, but I think you could take a lot of people in WWE, and if you didn't try to protect them physically like you do, they could do a lot of the same stuff he does. He's got charisma, but I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of people have charisma. He's not necessarily built special. I think he's good. I think WWE would do well to get him. But
Mhm.
if you said you can have Kenny Omega or AJ Styles. I'm going to take AJ Styles. Daniel Bryan. Um, there's probably 5 to 10 WWE. I'd take Seth Rollins over him.
But here's the thing, hang on. They went through the WWE system, so maybe that's why you're saying that. What if you got the same WWE shine as a Seth Rollins? Do you think you change your tune a little bit with his charisma and size and wrestling ability? You think
I
like
think the reason he's as big as he is because he hasn't been there, and people respect that, and even I do, because if he's really getting offered these millions of dollars, and
uh,
I mean, he must truly want to do his own thing, which that's cool, man. I like the guy. He's a good wrestler.
uh,
He's got a little intrigue to him because it's like, well, I'm never signing with WWE, so that in itself kind of sets him up to be what he's going to be. Um, but again, if you put him in a ring with, I don't know, right off the top of my head, Seth Rollins, AJ, Daniel, Andrade. I mean, I've seen all four of them wrestle recently. Andrade might be a surprise to you, but I'm really high on him.
mm-hmm.
I mean, is he any better than them? I don't think so. I just think he gets to do what he wants, and he's got a little special intrigue because he won't come to WWE.
Got you. So you think he just because it's
I think
almost
he's a main eventer, and in WWE he'd be a main eventer. Don't
mm-hmm.
get me wrong. I just don't think he's like an amazing. Oh my goodness, it's Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm about to drop a name. In no way I'm comparing it, but Sting. Do you think he kind of get the Sting mystique a little bit because Sting really never came for a long time? You think he's kind of getting that same? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But the thing is, Sting was more mainstream where people knew about him.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But yeah, as far as Mystique, I think
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
people were so excited when Sting came. It's like, oh my gosh, he's never been here and he's finally here. That'd be the same thing. So if Omega came in, he would immediately be in the title picture. Don't get me wrong, and I believe Vince would let him have a couple runs with the title. But it's just if they don't get him, I don't care either way. Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, Kenny Omega's available. They better get him. It'd be good for business because they would probably draw some of. Here's what I'm trying to say. If WWE gets him, they're going to draw some of his fans. If they don't get him, no WWE fans leaving to go watch him because they don't watch him already.
All right, I'll say this. I actually think I agree and don't disagree with you. I agree with you because I feel like I'm more of a smart than you. I do more research, and so I'm more excited about Kenny Omega. So I would say I'm more hard. The hardcore fans are really excited about that. But you're you're still more casual. So I agree. I think you're looking at it as more a casual.
You're a wrestling fan. I'm a WWE fan.
Exactly, and
so to beat WWE, you've already got the people that aren't WWE. How are you ever going to compete with them? You've got to get WWE fans.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
Taking Jericho is not going to. I mean, if I happen to see Jericho in an AEW match, yeah, I might stop and watch it. But other than that, so yeah, come in and poach AJ Styles and let me figure out how'd they do that.
Okay. And just before we spend another hour, we'll make this real quick. I mean, who do you think should go to All Elite? I mean, if you just off top of your head, I mean, who would you want to see get a shot in a New Japan
Ty
indie style?
Dillinger.
Ty, okay.
I'm really glad he's already there, so I don't know if this even is what you were asking, but like I think he was CJ Parker in NXT. He's Juice Robinson now. Like, I'm glad he got his chance over there.
Okay.
Ty Dillinger. R-Truth we talked about a while ago, although I can't see him at this point in his career ever doing something like that.
Right. I would actually, I'd like to see the Ascension go to All Elite and maybe,
Go back to their dominating way.
Yeah, dominating way because, I mean, honestly, I didn't watch much Ascension matches, but just all the talk online and hearing you from the last podcast, just getting to see them be creative and actually wrestle again.
When they were in NXT, they were a great team.
That's what I'm saying. It could just imagine just getting out there. I'd like to see the Revival against the Bucks. What else?
Gallows and Anderson would do
Gallows and Anderson.
Now, are we talking just anywhere, or you're saying, like, who would I like to see signed? What's it? AEW?
Like anything. Who would you want to see if they could sign? Now take out the top stars, of course. You know they're not going anywhere. But any promotion, I mean, who would you want to see in AEW? What as a casual as a WWE fan, what would turn your interest? And it can be like AJ or someone like that.
Um, if somebody, the Revival's a good team. The uh, Gallows and Anderson, I wouldn't mind seeing. Ty Dillinger. Oddly enough, I get made fun of because of this from people like Jeff and then my other friend Nick, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ty Dillinger's like in my top 5, maybe even top 3. So, if they sign him and then they have Jericho, I don't know that there's any one person because Jericho himself would be it if it was going to do it. But let's say they got him, one or two of those tag teams we talked about, Ty Dillinger, so that we can actually start seeing some competition and some matches between several people that I actually kind of like. They might pull me over.
Okay.
I think Cody's a good wrestler, but even when he was Cody or whatever he was doing, it wasn't like I was extremely, oh man, I love that guy.
No, I agree. I'm not a big Cody guy either. I mean, I get it. I mean, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we both understand. We get it. We understand he's good, but I don't want to say he doesn't. I don't want to say he doesn't have it because I feel like I'll make some people mad, but I don't see it with Cody. You know what I'm saying?
If they get mad, number one, that'll either make them listen to us because they'll hate us, or they won't listen. So we don't care. We don't care. I know it sounds bad, but whether you agree or not, we're still going to do this.
Right. But I just don't see it with Cody. Like I think
comment and try to get in touch with us if you disagree with what we say. How about that?
Right. Like I'll disagree with you on Kenny Omega just because I'm such a mark for the business.
But again, you're proving my point. You know who cares about him? People that actually paid attention to him, whether he's at WWE or not.
True. And the thing is the All Elite wants to come. They say they're not wanting to compete with WWE, but on some level they are, and they're going to get people like you, who just care about WWE.
Yeah, because the only way they're going to grow, the same people that watch Kenny Omega in New Japan, and they might not even get all the people that watched him there to come over. For them to get any kind of traction, they're going to have to find a way to compete with WWE. And, I think it was Jim Cornette I heard say something like this the other day. There's no one company. Like if any one company tried to go, they were walking down the street, Vince was coming at them, Vince isn't going to move. But if you get about 5 companies walking towards him, he might at least go to the other side of the street with his billions. You know what I mean? So
right.
Trying to start this one thing, unless they can maybe get all these other people to come together, that would be the only way they're going to get any traction to be on even a tenth of the level of WWE. And I don't care if anybody disagrees. Seriously, change my mind.
What about the All In pay-per-view? I mean, what do you think about the selling out in 30 seconds?
A $10,000 thing for the
10,000 attendance
or 10,000 seat.
Yeah,
that is a once in a lifetime thing. If they do something once, you and I could put on a wrestling show and sell it out if we get something small enough and make it seem like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now obviously they did a good job. It probably sounds like I hate all those people, but it's just that nothing they're doing is going to really move the needle. I really don't think it is. I mean, you got WWE. The only people they're going to pick up are people that were getting tired of WWE. Well, guess what? They've been doing things recently that have made a fan like me want to watch it more, and that will draw others back in. They got $1 billion contract with Fox. You think that's ever going to happen with any of these other ones? No. So enjoy your little cut of the pie. Have your friends, but whether Kenny Omega comes to WWE or you, it's not going to do anything for you.
So since I got you all fired up, what do you think about the Young Bucks? Let's make more people mad.
I've never watched a match of them because I don't care. Again, I saw Kenny Omega because he was on some channel at 11:30 at night that I've never heard of, and I couldn't go to sleep.
So what makes you not care? Like, is it just because WWE with its reach? I mean, what exactly makes you not care about all these fantastic wrestlers outside WWE?
Probably because, number one, I'm an adult. I'm kind of set in my ways. I'm already intaking on any given week at least 5 hours. And then if I watch NXT, 6 hours of wrestling Plus, if there's a pay-per-view or whatever we're calling them now, that's another 3 to 4 hours on a Sunday. So I'd say monthly, 6 a week, and then an extra 4. So I'm about 28 hours of wrestling a month already.
Mm-hmm.
I watch for the storyline. I don't care. It'd be like, do you like? This will be kind of funny. Do you like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? Well, if you like one, the other one's there, and they might be similar. But I mean, if you were a teenage girl and you liked NSYNC, F the Backstreet Boys. I
Got
mean,
you.
or it might even be they're just not even on your radar because you don't care. You like what you like.
Got
And
you.
and to
Okay.
get me to like them, let's say Lance Bass left NSYNC and went to the Backstreet Boys. Then they might be like, oh, well, if he left, what are they doing now? But for me, Jericho would be the one that Mike could do it. But even that doesn't move my needle because he's in his late 40s. And, he's, uh, I'm not going to say I've lost a little of my luster for him, but with all he's trying to do, I'll be honest with you. I know he's trying to make as much money as he can, and I do respect that. But
Mm-hmm.
I do. Maybe I hold a little resentment towards somebody that uses WWE to get where they are and then tries to leave and be a direct competitor.
Man, this is a whole nother podcast, and you're fired up. I mean, so
Yeah.
you think? So I don't know how I feel about. Man, we're going to have to cut it in a minute. So, but you think that Jericho should have stayed in the WWE? You think he should have just hung out there and just chilled?
I think that at least by listening to his podcast and what people say, he could pretty much do whatever he wanted there.
Uh-huh.
He probably just left because he got bored, and that's fine. But if you're going to try to be a competitor to the product I like, I don't have to like it.
Got you.
I
Okay.
mean, I feel like a lot of them are trying to do it as a like, we'll show WWE. Because, I mean, think about it. In the business I'm in, I'm not going to plug it or even give the name. There's 30 companies that do what I do. I don't care if number two tries to say, well, we don't try to compete with number one. We just want to do whatever. You wouldn't be in the, if you don't want to be number one, then you never will be number one.
Got you.
So every friggin' company out there wants to be WWE. Don't listen to any of them say we're just doing this for fun. Well, then why did you just try to get somebody to pay you millions? Why are you trying to get the backing of somebody that has Vince McMahon money? If you're just doing it for fun, then, build a ring in your backyard.
But what is if they want to change the world though? Like their motto says.
This is wrestling. Number one, you're not changing the world in any way with wrestling. Number two, you're not going to against Vince McMahon. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just not going to happen until he dies. You know how WWE goes down?
How?
They self-destruct. That's the only way they're ever going down.
Okay, so quick side thing. When Triple H takes over, I know this is a way different thing, but real quick, do you think that things change? Because I think he's a lot more of a mark for the business he lets on, and he goes after these independent talents. I mean, what do you think about that real quickly? I mean, do you think the business...
You know why he wants them?
Why?
Because if he has them all, then even the little companies can't do anything.
So you don't think it's for the love of wrestling? You just think he wants it because
No, they're about business there.
Uh-huh.
Any business owner, I mean, they love the business they're in, obviously, but they're in it to make the most money they can and crush their competitors. How do you get to number one? Because you do whatever it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And is it easier to grow or to prevent others from growing?
Prevent, like Vince McMahon did in the 70s, but all the territories up.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that we could spend another 3 hours because I think we need to spend a podcast talking more about this because I have some very strong opinions because I think you're wrong in a lot of areas. But what's for next time? And well, my name's Simon. That was Sam. And remember, Simon says subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. Thanks, guys.